Good morning. Have a pleasant and sunny day. Dear academician, dignitaries, esteemed guests, and international seminar participants, I welcome for the second day international seminar on the topic of global partnership, India's collaborative initiatives for economic and social growth. For the first day, there are too many keynote speakers. Professor Vijay Kumar Shrotiya, Delhi School of Economics, who have told us many things about global partnership, artificial intelligence, green economy, etc. We were too much pleased to hear about second keynote speaker, Professor M.C. Pandey, Principal, Government PG College, Ramnagar. On the first day, the patron was Professor Jaipal Singh Vyas, Dean and Member of Legislative Assembly, UP. Chief guest was Professor Dr. S.P. Khare, ex-Director of Higher Education Department, Uttar Pradesh. Special guest was Professor H.S. Dhami, Vice Chancellor, Surajmal University, Kitcha, Uttarakhand. Second special guest was Professor Abhay Kumar Mittal, ex-principal, Sahu Jain PG College, Najimabad. Another special guest was Professor Dr. B.K. Jha.
म्यूट कर दो.
Many scholars, academicians, research scholars were participated in this international seminar. They provide us many fruitful things for the success of this international seminar. This second day, our chief guest, Professor Dr. K.P. Singh ji, Vice Chancellor, महात्मा ज्योतिबा फुले रोहिलखंड विश्वविद्यालय बरेली. Special guest is Professor D.R. Sharma ji, Assistant Director, Higher Education, Prayagraj. Another special guest is Professor Dr. Sanjanani Shakya, Regional Higher Education Officer, Bareilly, and our principal sir, who has guided me for the success of this seminar. In this introduction panel, first academic session was held on yesterday, where Professor Parvez Kumar and Professor Seema Tewatia was the president of the technical session. Many more research scholars and academicians have presented their research paper on the different sub-themes. I am really thankful to all the academicians who were paid a lot of knowledge and show their talents Now this is time to kindle the lamp. So I invite our principal sir and other dignitaries to kindle the lamp in front of Goddess Saraswati. Put your big two hands together.
कौन सा कैमरा चल रहा है? ठीक है, सबका क्वेश्चन सर करना, ठीक है, दूर पीछे की बैक दिखाएंगे।
ये देखो कैमरा ग्रुप पर
वो चल रहा है,
चल गया नहीं ये वाला लाइव भी चल रहा है ना यूट्यूब पे।
As you know, first technical session was held on first day. Now this is time to start second technical session. This technical session is dedicated to our commerce grandfather of this region, Professor Dr. N.L. Sharma ji. We all of us dedicate to their first academic session. He has expired on last day. We are really sorry for that. So I am presenting my soul piece to him, Professor Dr. N.L. Sharma ji. Actually, we have already invited for the keynote speaker on the first day. Now he is not with us.
माइक तुम यहाँ से म्यूट कर सकते हैं? यहाँ से म्यूट कर दो सब, यहाँ से म्यूट करते रहो, वो तो बच्चे भी जुड़ेंगे, म्यूट करना पड़ेगा। आप अपनी तरफ से म्यूट कर दो।
A lot of online partners, online scholars, academicians have joined to us, and many more have sent online research paper for presentation. First, Joseph Swan in biology and also physical science. He has done a master in education, all from University of Oregon from USA. Just below his research paper, Arnold Joseph Swan.
ज्वाइन करा दी इनको मैडम
डिले करोगे पेपर का?
सबको ज्वाइन करा दो जो भी दिखाई दे
पेपर स्टार्ट
हाँ हाँ
स्क्रीन शेयर करके स्क्रीन शेयर करके वीडियो
आवाज कम करो
मजबूरी है सर, इसका कोई है नहीं। अब वो लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे तो अच्छा नहीं लगेगा ना, कुछ लोग इसका रहने चाहिए इसलिए करते हैं। वैसे बच्चों को मैंने मैसेज कराया भी अर्जेंट ज्वाइन करेंगे तो
हो रहे हैं।
हो रहा है ना? हाँ होंगे मैडम, हाँ करवा दिया था, अभी कराया था।
तुम्हारा फोटो आए लाइव चला दे।
लाइव वीडियो चलाना है
ठीक ठीक।
वही वाला आनंद और प्रियंका का चलेगा, दो चलेंगे यूएसए और ये
Hello, my name is Arnie Swan, and I want to talk to you a little bit about my perspective about India and also a little bit of my experience with India. Over the last 10 years, I've spent 8 years in India. I taught English for 4 years in Delhi, and then an additional 4 years in Varanasi. I would probably still be in India if that were possible. First, 2 years ago, my wife.
इसको गूगल मीट पे जाके प्रेजेंट करो, तो होगा ये, उस बारे में डालो इसको। ये तो ऐसे थोड़ी हो रहा है कि एक जगह ये चलेगा, एक जगह वो चलेगा। गूगल मीट पे जाके स्क्रीन शेयर करो और उसको प्रेजेंट करो वीडियो को,
तो सब चलता रहेगा।
हाँ वो तुम अब होस्ट की जगह ये आ जाएगा वीडियो उस पर।
सब आ जाएगा ये
इसमें फोटो नहीं जाएगा उसमें मेल नहीं भी आ रहे हैं, यू आ रहे हैं बस। तो और किसी के भी नहीं आ रहे,
किसी को इसलिए
सबके फोटो
इसी को स्क्रीन शेयर हो जाती है, आपने गलत हटवा दिया ना उसमें, इसी पे स्क्रीन शेयर हो जाती है, सब चलता रहता है। बस अब सब चलता रहेगा।
इस वीडियो को सेव नहीं किया गया, उसको सेव करो, शेयर करो, ऐसे नहीं चलेगी।
सबके म्यूट सब लोग अपना अपना म्यूट कर लें।
वो तो खुला रहेगा। यहाँ से शेयरिंग इंडस्ट्री चलो ठीक है, अब तुम इसको डाउन कर दो, इसको डाउन करो कैसे हो गया, अभी आ गई। अब दोनों चलाओ, गूगल की एक भी मत हटाना, दोनों चलेगा।
दोनों चलेंगे।
जब जरूरत पड़े इसका इस्तेमाल करो, दोनों उस रहेंगे, ठीक है।
सभी लोग अपने माइक बंद कर, वो बंद कर लीजिएगा।
म्यूट अपना
Been a year and I'm still under treatment.
तुम्हारा स्पीकर बोल रहा है क्या?
आपका होगा सर।
Operate, smooth outside the market. And I asked myself,
आप गूगल मीट बंद करना पड़ेगा।
नहीं नहीं बंद नहीं, म्यूट करवा दीजिए बस बात नहीं।
सारे फोन या म्यूट पे हो जाए या बंद हो जाए।
ये समय गूगल मीट पे ही चल रहा है।
नहीं म्यूट कर दीजिए ना, म्यूट कर
म्यूट,
दीजिए। अब वीडियो ऑफ कर दीजिए ना, केवल
आप लोग अपना अपना वीडियो वो ऑफ कर लीजिए।
वहाँ से म्यूट हो रखा है सबका।
वीडियो भी ऑफ कर लीजिए।
म्यूट है सबका। थोड़ा सा वॉल्यूम बढ़ा दो, थोड़ा सा।
emerging
सब अपने पर फोन से थोड़ी आवाज कम कर दो।
सब बंद है, सब पूरी बंद है।
सबकी बंद है।
लैपटॉप से थोड़ी आवाज
एक ही रिफ्रिजरेटर रहने दो, एक से बंद करो, दोनों पे चल रहा है ना। अच्छा आवाज
उसका बंद कर दो।
ना ना ना
उसमें तो आ रहा है, इधर नहीं है। इसमें ये पूरी आवाज आ रहा है। दोबारा
सर अपनी आवाज को
इसमें तो आ रहा होगा।
इसमें आवाज आ रही है
वो हो गया था एकदम से। दोबारा इसमें ज्वाइन कराने का है ऑप्शन अपने आप।
हाँ हाँ अपने आप
अपने आप हो जाएगा सर।
क्लिक कर दीजिए।
ये चेक कर लीजिए सर, आवाज आ रही है कि नहीं। इनकी आवाज आपको सुनाई दे रही है?
वहाँ से तो डीएक्टिवेट करवाइए ना ना, ये वहीं से है।
और भी सर
म्यूट तो है, यहाँ से तो ऑफ है, यहाँ से भी ऑफ है, आपने भी ऑफ कर रखा है।
India as a market doesn't want to be left out of the Indian market if they see it as an opportunity. And the purchasing power of Indians, and I want to talk to you a little bit about my perspective about India and also a little bit of my experience with India. Over the last 10 years, I've spent 8 years in India. I taught English for 4 years in Delhi, and then an additional 4 years in Varanasi. I would probably still be in India if that were possible. First, 2 years ago, my wife became very sick when we were in the U.S. due to an infection that she nearly died. She spent 3 months in the hospital. It took a long time to heal, and there were some residual issues that health problems she still has. And then a year later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I'm still under treatment. And so, at this time, it's not possible for us to be in India. When we left, and I asked myself, would I really miss India? How much will I really miss India? Well, I find that I actually do miss India a lot. It's been difficult. I also have some fear that I will
देखिए सर मेरी आवाज आ रही है
अभी नहीं दोबारा लिंक से जुड़ जाओ ना
दोबारा से ना
क्या होगा
एक काम करो ना, ये सीधा प्ले कर दो इस पर और बाकी ऑनलाइन होंगे तो ये लगा देना।
हाँ तो वही तो
यहाँ से आप माइक को म्यूट कर दीजिएगा, आवाज जा रही है सारी।
एक काम करके देखिए, बैक पीछे से बेटा स्पीकर वाला चक्कर होता है, मैटर समझ में आता है। वो स्पीकर आप ना
इको आ रहा था इको आ रहा है
स्पीकर आगे पीछे करके काम चलेगा नहीं चलेगा?
सब कुछ
नहीं होगा।
इसके उसमें आवाज आ रही है
आवाज आ रही
सर
आपकी आवाज आ रही
इसको
है,
डिस्कनेक्ट कर दो, यही कनेक्ट है ना इसलिए इसको बिल्कुल डिस्कनेक्ट यही कनेक्ट है ना इसलिए दिक्कत है। इसकी जरूरत है, बाहर से कनेक्ट करवा रहा हूँ मैं उसमें जी
हाँ, और उसको इस पे भी यहाँ से डीएक्टिवेट कर दीजिए।
हाँ जी इसको डिस्कनेक्ट करिए आप। बाकी अब चलाओ अभी तो
हाँ
अपना माइक बंद करो भाई।
अपना माइक बंद करो।
ये माइक खुला हुआ है इनका
आवाज कैसे आएगा?
दूर दूर बढ़ जा।
नहीं, एक
ए बे अपना माइक बंद करो, कैसे खुला हुआ है? तुम लोग एग्जिट करो सारे के सारे।
आप लोग एग्जिट कर जाइए, बंद कर दो।
लेकिन मैडम आवाज कहाँ से जा रही है अगर नहीं खुला हुआ तो? बात ये है ना, हम बोल रहे हैं आवाज किससे आ रही है? माइक खुले हुए हैं ना।
होस्ट ने डीएक्टिवेट कर रखा है, होस्ट ने डीएक्टिवेट कर रखा है।
आपका
हाँ उसका नहीं,
मेरा भी बंद कर दीजिए कैसे
नया जुड़ेगा वो नहीं।
मेरा भी नया है तो हट वो हट जाओ
मैं आपको म्यूट कर
मैंने इसको बंद किया तो इसको चला रहे हैं।
किससे फर्क पड़ेगा?
थोड़ा सा अलग रह गया।
हमें दीजिए बैठ। तो सभी लोग हट जाएं गूगल में थोड़ी देर को।
ऐसा करें, थोड़ी देर हम लोग बाहर जाएं।
ना बाहर हो जाइए
बैठिए यहीं।
इसको इस समय सब लोग डिलीट हो जाइए
इससे बाहर हो जाइए। सर मैडम का कर दीजिएगा जरा।
मैं यहाँ फुल कैप कर दे रही हूँ, हो जाएगा बस। रिटर्न टू टेप से हो जाएंगे और क्या हो गया।
हो गए सर, हम लोग हो गए, लीव कर दिया।
फिर दोबारा से जुड़वाएंगे जरूरत पड़ेगी तो। असल में सर साथ में सबका खुल जाता है ना तो
स्पीकर की वजह से वो हो जाता है।
जो यहाँ पे बैठे हैं उनको जुड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है, बाहर से जुड़ने।
बाहर से है कुछ जुड़ जाएंगे।
हाँ।
अब करो।
ये फेसबुक लाइव चल रहा है क्या अभी तक? लाइव चल रहा है क्या?
यूट्यूब लाइव
पता नहीं।
जल्दी तो चला।
यूट्यूब को बंद कर।
अमित कहाँ चला गया?
यूट्यूब गलत हो जाएगा।
अपना प्रेजेंट करो। किससे प्रेजेंट कर रहा है? किससे प्रेजेंट कर रहा है?
ये रिकॉर्डेड है ना?
यार हम इसलिए क्या पढ़ेंगे?
हाँ रिकॉर्डेड है।
अपना करो खान उसको करने दो जो कर रहा है।
ठीक है, पार्टिसिपेंट को म्यूट रहने दो सबको, आप वीडियो प्ले करिए।
सुमित तुम अपना काम करो।
मेरी वो खोल दी इधर से म्यूट कर दी मॉडल तो कर दो बाकी अनम्यूट कर दी।
दो तीन जगह से एक ही वीडियो फ्लो कर दो तो दिक्कत होगी।
वॉल्यूम
यूज कर रखा है। उसके बोलिए मत तो मिली।
वहाँ पे खोलो।
उसे तो खोल दो तो फिर दिक्कत नहीं है।
इससे भी ज़्यादा है ना सब में, इसलिए बंद किया था।
करना कैसा है तो बताओ।
वो स्क्रीन शेयर करके देता है।
किस पे? अपनी वाली उसकी स्क्रीन करें या यहाँ से स्क्रीन उससे क्या
यहाँ से बात तो एक ही पड़ेगी, वहाँ से क्या जरूरत पड़ेगी?
करना क्या चाह रहा है?
वॉल्यूम करो थोड़ा सा अभी।
तो अभी वॉल्यूम बढ़ाओ तो सब बंद कर दिया ना।
वॉल्यूम
प्रोग्राम में उसको जैसे पहले चल रहा था वैसे चलाओ सही करके। यहीं से रखो ऑपरेटिंग, वहाँ से यहाँ से मत दौड़ करो ऐसे। सब यहीं से करो जैसे पहले शुरू में चलाया था। अमित
जी हम कह तो रहे हैं जहाँ होस्ट है वहीं से होगा, आपके करने से कुछ नहीं होगा।
तुम यही सुमित रहो जी, वहाँ से मत करो, यहीं से करो। जैसे पहले डायरेक्ट करा था वैसे डायरेक्ट कर दो।
तो आवाज सुनिए।
ऑफ तो नहीं कर दिया था कहीं से?
चालू करो पहले, वहाँ से पसंद करो। ये देखिए
मैं बता रहा था इसका माइक का ये वाला ये नहीं है, ये वायरलेस का है, माइक का ये इसका है। इससे कोई मतलब नहीं, खोल दो इसका इसको बंद कर दो।
I have spent 8 years.
लेकिन जब ये वो करेगी
इनको तो आया
इनको करेगा लेकिन कोई फायदा नहीं है। सारी चीज बंद कर दी मैंने।
In bottom.
स्लो आवाज में चल रहे दो।
अरे ये इधर करिए जरा, पीछे इस साइड कर देना और पीछे कर।
पहले तो सही चल गया था ये बिल्कुल।
उस टाइम चला रहा
उसमें सर उससे नहीं जुड़ा हुआ था, गूगल मीट से। सिंपल प्ले वीडियो जो रिकॉर्ड हो रही है हमारी, उसके लिए चला रहा था।
उससे तो बचता रहेगा यूट्यूब वाली पे से।
चलो
वो ठीक से रहेगा। गूगल मीट
अरे पहले चला था वैसे ही कर दो लाइव उसका।
सर
पहले चल रहा था उसको कैमरे को इधर कर देंगे तो ये वाली दिक्कत नहीं आएगी साउंड। एक बार करके देखना वैसे करके ट्रेनिंग में हाँ वो कैमरा करके देखना वो कैमरा लेके आने
कैमरा इसलिए मिला था।
ऑडियो तो आ जाएगी।
जैसे पहले चल रहा था वैसे ही चला दो, सब लोग देखते रहें, अपने एक्सपेरिमेंट ना करें।
अमित ये बताओ गलती कहाँ हो रही है? बताओ, बिना दबाव क्या बताओ?
बिना दबाव के
इससे दबाव लोगे, ऐसा कोई सारे लोग कह रहे हैं वो कर लेंगे, वो प्रयास कर लेंगे, लेकिन सब लोग की राय में कभी-कभी आदमी का दिमाग हाँ दिमाग
खाली
खराब कर
छोड़ दो
देता
मैं
है।
अकेला
अकेला छोड़ो, उसको यूज करने दो अपना
शाम तक
दिमाग।
यूज हो जाएगा, क्या है बेटर
और क्या ऑनलाइन में क्या दिक्कत है?
खाना है ही।
नहीं चलती है वेडिंग
खाना है
क्या ऑनलाइन हुआ रहेगा।
नहीं जो पार्टिसिपेंट है वो कैसे ज्वाइन करेंगे?
जो पार्टिसिपेंट पेपर में जो ऑनलाइन पेमेंट करने को
तैयार बैठे 3 और 4 लोग हैं अभी तैयार पेपर देने के लिए।
अभी नॉर्मल प्ले कर दूं
नहीं तो जो ऑनलाइन वाले पार्टनर तो जुड़ जाएं इस पर।
हाँ वो तो जुड़ रहा है
बस ठीक है, तो वो देखते हैं अपना, वो शुरू करो अपना।
अरे हम लोग जुड़े ना जुड़े वो जुड़ जाए।
हम लोग ही छोड़ो, हम लोग तो पार्टिसिपेंट हैं, वो अपना देखते हैं, उसका पर्पस ये है हमारा। यहाँ पर दिखाया
अपना सब लोग बंद कर दिए।
तुम ऑनलाइन चलाओ और ऑनलाइन मतलब ये इसलिए क्योंकि हमारा लिंक है ना, इस पर जो हम कर रहे हैं वो सब ऑनलाइन जा रहा है और आवाज आ रही है बकायदा।
And I want to talk to you a little bit about my perspective about India and also a little bit of my experience with India. Over the last 10 years, I have spent 8 years in India. I taught English for 4 years in Delhi, and then an additional 4 years in Varanasi. I would probably still be in India if that were possible. First, 2 years ago, my wife became very sick when we were in the U.S. due to an infection. She nearly died. She spent 3 months in the hospital and took a long time to heal. And there's some residual issues that health problems she still has. And then a year later, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I'm still under treatment. And so, at this time, it's not possible for us to be in India. When we left, after I closed out my apartment, I had to come back and close out my apartment. And I asked myself, would I really miss India? How much will I really miss India? Well, I find that I actually do miss India a lot. It's been difficult. I also have some fear that I will forget all of the Hindi that I've learned in the last 8 years. But I have had wonderful experiences in India, and so I wanted to address today the topic, emerging economic power, assessing India's impact on the world stage. And I've always been a fan of India because I think that India does have a great future on the world stage. And as I look at the culture and the people, and how Indian people react with other people, or act with and interact with other people, I am very confident and optimistic for India's future. Just a few things first about India itself. Today it's pretty obvious that India is becoming the world's largest marketplace. There are, of course, many consumers in India, and as wages are rising with Indian people, India is projected to become soon by far the world's biggest market, the biggest consumer. Wages have been growing at a rate of 4.6% annually, which allows Indian people to purchase more, and at 1.4 billion people, that creates a market. And so, even with the time when I was in India, the whole world is beginning to notice India as a market, and other countries don't want to be left out of the Indian market. They see it as an opportunity. And the purchasing power of Indians also, as their income increases, their buying power increases, that creates a steadily growing economy, which will draw increasing numbers of foreign investors and foreign companies. And we're seeing that already. I'll talk about that a little bit just with American companies in a minute. And just in thinking about Indian people and Indian culture, I said this often when I was there, India, there's so many advantages that India has as a workforce. Of course, the Indian population is largely young, so India enjoys a young, strong, and increasingly educated workforce. And education is right. India's placement in the world in terms of education is rising, along with, I think, a lot of Asia, as the Western powers are actually declining in their education, sadly, from an American perspective. Indian people are competitive. They're used to competition. They have to work very hard to be successful. And yet a lot of the rest of the world isn't used to working so hard for success. And so when Indian people go to other countries, or Indian businessmen compete with businessmen from other countries, Indians are competitive, and they often win, or they rise up in the competition and they're successful. And I believe that will help India greatly in the years to come. Many Indian people are multilingual. So many educated Indians speak 2, 3, all everyone speaks 2 languages, but 3, 4, 5 different languages. And the Western countries are not nearly so multilingual. I think that again just shows the work ethic that Indians have. And it also will allow them to be successful, because communicating with people out there in the world is pretty important. And it's interesting, as a result of that, I think you can see there are educated, successful Indian workers in many developed countries. In the United States, there are about 1 million Americans that are of Indian origin, and they, well, in recent Indian origin, there are, I think that for those who are citizens and no longer, there's about almost 3 million, but those Indian people are increasingly successful. In America, 10% of all the doctors there are Indians, and of all the engineers in America, 30% they are Indians. And there's an increasing number now of Indian CEOs of companies. You certainly are familiar with some of them, Google and others. And then we're seeing, even in politics now, you're probably familiar with Vivek Ramaswamy, who was running for president, and probably will, if President Trump is elected, will probably end up in his cabinet and be in a high political position, and there have been others. So India, in the United States, Indians are having an increasing amount of influence. And that's true in Europe, in many places. The Indian workforce has spread to many places. And because they're hardworking and educated and good workers, they give India a good reputation. And I think that opens up the world for business. One of the U.S. Congressmen, Rich McCormick, described American Indians as, he said, they are great patriots, upstanding citizens, and good friends. And I like that statement. And I feel the same way, having many Indian friends still that I correspond with. I have enjoyed being friends with Amit, who is involved with this conference, who persuaded me to talk for a few minutes. I also, as I think about India, the factors that make Indians successful, one of the things I really respect and love in India is Indian people all value families very much. India has strong families. And I believe that strong countries are built on strong families. In the United States, families are under attack, I'll say. They're being broken up and the divorce rates are high and some people just don't get married. And I believe that undermines the strength of a country. The foundation of a culture and a country is the strength of their families. And India has strong families as any culture in the world, and that's very impressive to me. Indian people are also social. They interact more than American and Western people, which is good because then they depend on each other. And I think as we face life's challenges, not facing them alone, but facing them together with family, and even with close friends is very important. It makes us more successful. All of those make me optimistic about India's impact on the world. And then just thinking about what's happening in India's sectors, economic sectors. India has, I believe it has the highest now growth rate for insourcing of high-tech factories and production plants from other countries. And so many countries are now beginning to outsource to India with their production plants and factories. Because Indian workers are educated and they're trainable and they're willing to work hard. And so we're seeing a lot of wealth coming to India just because of outsourcing to India with especially technology factories. An example of that, my brother has worked for Dow Chemical, which is it's a giant chemical company that's produced many kinds of plastics and chemicals for all different purposes. He worked with agricultural chemicals like fertilizers and pesticides and herbicides, etc. And today, my brother's about ready to retire, but Dow Chemical is split into 3 companies, and the agricultural sector is just now beginning to outsource all of their precursor chemical production to India. And that's a lot. It's a huge dollar amount. A lot of the market share of the original Dow company is coming to India, and that just is happening, I think, everywhere. India has a very significant hold on healthcare and the pharmaceutical industries. India is producing more and more pharmaceutical products for export to other countries. India is now projected, I think in this year, 2024, to reach $420 billion US just in the healthcare industry. That's 10% of its GDP. It's also true, India is well known for being a world leader in IT, technology, innovation, and development, which is going at an incredible rate now. Artificial intelligence, India is very much involved in that development. Currently now in India, there are 33 Indian startup companies that each company now exceeds $1 billion US in its net worth. It just shows a huge growing share of the world market for India in IT. And there are IT workers from India in almost every developed country. India is affecting world growth and development in that way. India also, as I mentioned, and chemicals and petrochemicals India is not only producing a lot of outsourced chemical products, but they're making their own chemical products, not just pharmaceuticals, but many others for export and for their own use. So 6% of India's GDP today is now the production of chemicals and petrochemicals, that's fantastic. Again, it's high technology, it's development of India's Indian growth. India is a leader it's the second largest food manufacturer in the world. That's a remarkable statement. India's always been very agricultural, and greatly to India's credit, they produce all of their own food. India doesn't need to import food from any other country, and they export quite a bit of food. And that, of course, creates an independence. India is not greatly dependent for those essentials on other countries, and that's a huge advantage. India, India actually, as far as the agricultural community, is developing quickly and becoming much more, the technology growth in agriculture in India is rapidly growing, and they're producing more and more food and able to export more. It's often been said that India needs to expand its infrastructure to be a successful country, but that's happening. Investors anticipate solid long-term development and fast growth in India's infrastructure and all the companies associated with that. So those problems are being solved, and I'm sure many of you see that all around you, the growth of India in infrastructure. And there's just so many other ways as you look at Indian culture. I'm always amazed, 20 years ago, there were very few Indian athletes performing on the world stage. Now, just this last Olympics, there were several gold medalists and other medals. And every year now in the World Games, we see more and more Indians who are winning medals, and India is just becoming more. And I just think that's an indicator of Indian culture becoming successful in every area, in science, in literature, in art. The world is now coming to and beginning to accept and desire Indian culture. So I think India is very much bound for success. I think that there has many advantages, and I think in another decade or two we'll see India becoming one of the greatest economies in the world again. Millennia ago, India was famous. India was a world leader, and I really do believe that today is a good time to grow up being Indian again. I think India is going to be not only powerful in the world, but India will become a leader in many ways in the world and influence other cultures and other people. And I think more and more people are going to be interested to come and see Indian culture, to see India has so many things to see in terms of history and culture and even geography. India is a fascinating place. So I have considered myself to be, having spent 8 years in India, I consider myself to be most fortunate to have experienced India and actually made friends with people in India. And maybe I didn't mention it, part of the reason I wanted to be there, my mother was born in India, and my grandparents died in India. They lived there for 40 years. So in just a little way, I think of myself as being Indian. Thank you very much.
नीचे से खुलेगा ही नीचे से
Hello. Thank you very much, Lord Joseph Swan, who spoke about the fastest growing economy of India, about the world. third world economy, and in future, as we know, because of good governance, India's significantly growth has taken a part for a world economy. This is our topic, Global Partnership for India's Collaborative Initiative for Economic and Social Growth, which is vital for sustainable development. They connect people worldwide. In addition, global partnership allow each to share information, technology, and resources. This allows for more significant connections of knowledge and ideas. The idea of global partnership for development converts with the notion of complex interdependence adopted by UN itself, which states that any actor's action has reciprocal consequential effects in the international system. That is, one person's action may influence someone else on the other side of the world. India has been an early adopter of the global goals as guiding development framework. India's overall international development cooperation has expanded significantly in recent years in its geographical reach as well as in the area of cooperation. A noteworthy feature of India's development partnerships has been its demand-based nature and the close alignment of priorities with those of the partner countries. India's approach towards developmental partnerships has been comprehensive, offering assistance and sharing of India's own developmental expertise in the full spectrum of activities, ranging from creation of infrastructure to building capacities to education, health care, agriculture and community development. India's development assistance has been a major catalyst for creation of much needed infrastructure in the partner countries such as railway links, road, bridges, waterways, water-related infrastructure, transmission lines, power generation, hydropower, preservation of restoration of cultural sites. Now, here are another global partner, researcher Priyanka will be present online. She is connected online. Priyanka is an IT professional with over 13 years of experience in IT consulting in various industries like chemicals, petrochemicals, gas, medical, device production, automotive, beverage and food. Currently working in Maigo Consulting Inc. as SAP ERP consultant. She will present. She is from Washington, America.
A very good morning or good afternoon to everyone who is present over here today. Myself Priyanka and I am an IT professional currently working in USA. Today I would like to talk about our seminar topic, which is Global Partnership, India's Collaboration Initiatives for Economic and Social Growth. But before I proceed forward, I would like to thank P.K. Vashne sir and Madan Mohan Vashne sir for giving me this opportunity to speak on this stage today. So let me present you the brief agenda for today's discussion. We will be going through the UN partnership in India. Then we'll be looking at sustainable development goals. Then we'll be looking at India's progress on social growth as well as on economic growth. So first thing first, let's understand that what United Nations means and how it has been helping India in achieving its sustainable development growth. So the United Nations is an international organization whose purposes are to maintain international peace and security and to develop friendly relations among nations or countries and to achieve international cooperation and to serve as a center for harmonizing the action of the nations or countries. It is the world's largest international organization. UN is financed from assist and voluntary contribution from its member states, and currently it has more than 128 member states. The partnership framework between the Government of India and the UN system being nationally executed under the overall coordination of the Government of India, Public Policy, Think Tank, Niti Aayog. Now let's talk a little bit about Sustainable Development Goals. What are they basically? So Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint to achieve a better and more sustainable future for one and for all. Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs are a universal call which requires action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. The Sustainable Development Framework brings together the work of the UN systems in support of the key national priorities towards the achievement of SDGs. It was developed by UN in India in close consultation with the Government of India, guided by the overarching SDG principle to leave no one behind, which means that the Government of India is working on India's message of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. The comprehensive agenda recognizes that it is no longer sufficient just to focus on economic growth, but on fairer and more equal societies and a safer and more prosperous planet. The UN family works as one to support India achieve its aspirations to end poverty and inequality and to promote sustainable development in line with the global agreed SDG. So below is a brief image of the total SDGs which India has to achieve in coming years. And today I will be talking a little bit about India's economic and social growth. And let's talk a little bit about India's progress on social growth. Over the past decade, India has made concrete efforts towards achieving sustainable developments. Through the successful implementation of social sector schemes such as the Jal Jeevan Mission and the Swachh Bharat Mission, which seek to provide clean drinking water and safe sanitization for all. Millions of people across all sections of society have benefited from this development push. The Swachh Bharat Mission and the Jal Jeevan Mission, which were launched in 2014 and 2019 respectively, have been instrumental in driving social well-being in India. At the time of its implementation in 2014, the Swachh Bharat Mission sought to provide safe sanitization for all through the creation and use of toilet, making India open defecation free. India became open defecation free on October 2nd, 2019 by constructing over 100 million toilets across its villages. Swachh Bharat Mission also provided adequate facilities for solid and liquid waste, which involved the management of all kinds of waste. The Swachh Bharat Mission and Jal Jeevan Mission schemes strive to remove labor from people's life, improve their health and economic condition by ushering in prosperity. These schemes help the country meet many of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, including the social growth. In August 2019, nearly 70% of Indian households had access to tap water. This number stands at over 63% today. It's a huge change. Through its achievement under the Swachh Bharat Mission and the Jal Jeevan Mission, India is laying a paradigm for sustainable development. Besides the earlier agreement and partnership between India and United Nations, an important agreement was signed in 2023 between the government policy think tank NITI, Aayog and the United Nations in India, which aimed at advancing India's sustainable development goals. The framework will help India progress on areas including health and well-being, quality education, economic growth, environment and climate and empowerment of individuals and communities. Moving on to the next slide. Now let's talk a little bit about economic growth of India with UN partnership. India has embarked on the journey to attain the Sustainable Development Goal 8, which is decent work and economic growth for all. Programs like Make in India, Startup India, Skill India, and Digital India have the underlying principle of creating employment opportunity for our country's youth. To attain this goal, India is focusing more on two aspects, which is urbanization and manufacturing. India has been growing at a rate of around 7% GDP per annum. India's growth story has been driven by the services sectors, which constitutes 62% of India's GDP. Dependence on the services sector alone for growth is possible in countries with high per capita income and less population. However, if one takes the example of China, Japan, South Korea, the process of manufacturing is very essential to growth, and which in turn creates the job for the unemployed people in the country. So India is also focusing on the same. Looking at India's economic priorities, the 2023 and 24 national budget places focuses on creating both physical and digital infrastructures as well as the areas of manufacturing, fintech, green growth and new technologies. These priority sectors will be supported with government investment. Some of the sectors in which India is paying more attention are automotive industries, pharmaceutical industries, renewable energy, fintech, artificial intelligence, semiconductors and space sector. And that's the end of the session. Thank you so much for your presence today and hope you have enjoyed this session. Thank you so much. A very good morning.
Thank you, Priyanka, for presenting your research paper about India's progress on economic growth. She has presented automobile industry, India's growth on automobile industry, pharmaceutical industry, renewable energy, fintech, artificial intelligence, semiconductor, space sector, etc. In this paper, she has taken for consideration. Now, there are some students connected with us. I am calling about Ritika, one research scholar or student, Ritika from NSUT, to present her paper. Kindly invited. Ritika from NSUT.
Here is my abstract. Here is my abstract. The objective of the founder on credit risk management at ICICI Bank is to offer an exhaustive examination of the credit risk management strategies that one of India's best private division banks, ICICI Bank, employs. In order to ensure the security and soundness of their advanced portfolio, bank must have solid credit trans administration arrangements and firm input. Credit trans administration could be component of keeping money operations. After giving a brief rundown of ICICI Bank and its loaning operations, the thinker will go on examining credit chance administration and its centrality within the managing and account industry. After that, it will look at ICICI Bank's system of overseeing credit hazards, counting the methods, framework, and arrangement input for overseeing credit risk. They will ensure survey ICICI Bank's portfolio and credit hazards administrative forms, counting the viability of the banker's credit chance relief measures. The review will utilize auxiliary investigation strategies such as an audit of banks' annual report and other freely accessible data, as well as an exhaustive writing audits of significant scholastic and industry investigation within the field of credit hazards administration within the management and account sector. This thought will be valuable to keeping money division controllers and approach creators in India and beyond. The discovery of consideration will give understanding to bank credit chance administration and firm strategies, which can serve as a reference for other banks to upgrade their credit chance administration practices. Here I have seen the problem which has faced their faced. So what are the major challenges faced by the bank in credit risk management, and how does ICICI Bank currently manage credit risk, and what are the strengths and weaknesses of its existing credit risk management framework? And the third problem is what steps can be taken by ICICI Bank to enhance its credit risk management framework, mitigate credit risk effectively. When I researched on this topic, there are some primary objectives of this study are I have studied the examiner current credit risk management practices at a bank, identify the strength and weakness of its credit risk management framework. Second, I've also evaluated the effectiveness of ICICI Bank's credit risk management framework in identifying, assessing, and mitigating credit risk. And I have also identified the main issues faced by the ICICI Bank in managing credit risk, such as credit concentration, counterparty risk, and macroeconomic factors. I also recommended the strategies to improve the ICICI Bank's credit risk management framework to mitigate credit risk and enhance the overall quality of its loan portfolio. I also compared ICICI Bank credit risk management practices with industry practice to identify area for improvement. So here I have also I will use the method, both the method of qualitative and quantitative methods in this study. In this, I'll use comparative analysis by analyzing the annual reports of the bank, research papers, and the news articles to understand ICICI Bank's credit risk management practices. After that, I got the findings. The study revealed that ICICI Bank has established a comprehensive credit risk management framework. It effectively identifies, assesses, and mitigates credit risk through combination of risk assessment models, diversification strategies, risk monitoring systems, and risk mitigation measures. And after reading all the research papers, I have concluded the study found that the ICICI Bank has a robust credit risk management framework, but there are some areas for the improvement. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ritika. Nice presentation about the topic of credit risk management of ICICI Bank. Now, one of our colleague, Himanshu, will present a paper from NSUT. The topic is impact of banks lending and deposit function on their sustainability Indian evidence.
वीडियो म्यूट कर दो इसका।
ठीक।
Hello everyone, is my presentation visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, a very good morning, respected principal Dr. P.K. Vaste sir, conference convener Dr. M. Vaste sir, and my dear staff, mainly Dr. Sapna Bharti ma'am, Dr. Sima Rawani ma'am, Dr. Parul Stodi ma'am, Dr. Manjusha ma'am, and Dr. Deepak Dragan sir, Dr. Karun sir. So, very good morning to all of you, and I feel honored in participating in this international conference, mainly organized by Dr. P.K. Vaste sir and Dr. M. Vaste sir, and all his staff. So, first of all, I congratulate you for successful organization of this conference, and this conference really based on global partnerships, India's collaborative initiative for economic and social growth. So this conference holds highly relevant in the current scenario because most of the researchers are conducting research on sustainability nowadays. So this becomes a buzzword, or this becomes a hot topic for the research in the current academia, and also most of the countries across the world are participating in workshops or in conferences to how to achieve sustainable development goals by 2030. So this topic is highly relevant, and this theme of the conference is highly interesting in the current scenario. So based on these themes, I am presenting the topic impact of banks lending and deposit functions on their sustainability Indian evidence. So this is the agenda for today. First, I will cover introduction, literature review, research question and hypothesis, research method, empirical results, conclusion, followed by references. So okay. So this is the objective of the paper, mainly to investigate the impact of lending and deposit function of Indian commercial banks on long-term sustainability, on their long-term sustainability. So the motivation of this paper comes from the fact that the banking sector plays a crucial role in the economic development of the country. And in the current project, as the IMF projected that India is likely to be the third largest economy by 2027. So the banking sector will provide a crucial role. Banking sector will play a crucial role in procuring the savings from the public and allocating these funds as regulated for productive purposes, and thus bolstering the economic growth of the country. And the topic also is relevant because in the current project, it is also announced that it is also expected that India is going to achieve the target of net zero by 2070. That net zero means that India is trying to reduce the carbon emissions to a zero level by 2070. So we can say that the economic development as well as sustainable development holds crucial significance in the current project, and we are also moving towards a dream of making India a Viksit Bharat by 2047. So there are various sectors that play a key role in economic development of the country, and one of the sector is that banking sector. So we have investigated this sector, their sustainability in the long run based on their lending and deposit functions. So this is mainly the literature review. Due to the paucity of time, I have taken only few studies for literature review in the slide. Like Verma and Kumar in 2007, they have compared the CD ratio of different states, and they found that great deposit ratio of Maharashtra has been higher as compared to other states. Then Kumar and Verma in 2008, they also showed that private bank and foreign banks displayed better great deposit ratio as compared to public sector banks. Then Narwal and Patneja in 2015, they confirmed the above results by showing that productivity and profitability was higher in case of private sector banks. Then Agarwal in 16 asserted that parameters like trade deposit ratio, investment deposit ratio are very much helpful in determining the profitability of public sector banks in India. Then Natarajan et al. In 2018 showed that financial performance of respective private banks in India is significantly affected by the bank size, rate of risk, asset management, and debt ratio. So this is the literature review. This is a brief literature review. And these are the research questions. So the first research question related to the research objective is to how do the lending and deposit function of the banks affect the sustainability of the Indian banks in the long run. So in this study, we measure the sustainability of Indian banks by mainly focusing on their profitability. And we have taken different measures for profitability. And these are the null hypotheses. So we have framed total 4 null hypotheses for this paper. And the first null hypothesis shows there is no significant effect of growth in deposits on return on equity in long run. Then second null hypothesis similarly shows that there is no significant effect of growth in deposits on return on assets in long run. Then hypothesis 3 shows that there is no significant effect of growth in loans on return on equity in long run. Then the last hypothesis shows that there is no significant effect of growth in loans on return on assets in long run. So this is the research method. In this research method, I am describing the sample, technique, model, and variables. So we have employed the sample of public sector and private sector banks, and the study covers a period from 2010 to 2023, and it's based on secondary data collected from different sources like RBI website, and Bloomberg database. And we have employed different models to analyze the results, mainly correlation and simple linear regression models. And we have chosen mainly 2 variables to measure the profitability of the bank's mainly return on equity and return on assets. So these are the results mainly based on correlation and regression. So correlation mainly measures the relationship between 2 variables. So if we look at the coefficient for loan growth and deposit growth for return on assets, so these are positive 0.373 and 0.602, and for return as well as for return on equity, these coefficients are also positive. So this suggests that these loan growth and deposit growth are positively related to return on asset and return on equity, that is long-term sustainability of the banks. And these results are also significant. So we can say these are significantly related to return on asset and return on equity. Now, based on OLS regression model for deposits, so if we look at the coefficient of deposit growth, the coefficient of deposit growth is 1.153. That means if there is 1 unit change in deposit growth, then it will cause a 1.153 change in return on asset or return on equity. So that means we have rejected the null hypothesis because the p-value is significant. So we have accepted the alternate hypothesis, that means deposit growth has a significant impact on return on asset and return on equity. Similarly, for loan growth, the coefficient is 0.131. That means the coefficient is positive and significant. So we can say the loan growth is positively related to return on asset and return on equity. And we have also rejected the null hypothesis. So we have accepted the alternate hypothesis, that means loan growth has a significant impact on return on asset and return on equity. So based on regression and correlation results, this is the conclusion that the study examines the effect of growth in deposits and loans on profitability of Indian banks in long run. So correlation tables show that these loan growth and deposit growth are positively related to return on asset and return on equity, while regression results show that these parameters have significant impact on profitability of Indian commercial banks. So I have chosen this topic because the loan growth and deposit growth may have also negative impact on bank sustainability, because many banks are facing issues of NPA, non-performing assets. So loan growth and deposit growth may have positive or as well as negative impact in the banking sector. So there is a mixed evidence in the literature. So our study shows that deposit and loan growth have positive impact instead of negative impact on long-term sustainability of Indian commercial banks. So this is the conclusion. And if I talk about the limitations of the study, yes, we have considered the sample of private sector banks and public sector banks, but we did not compare these banks. So future studies can compare the public sector banks and private sector banks separately to assess the impact of deposit growth and loan growth on long-term sustainability of Indian commercial banking in long run. So this can be a future scope from this study. And these are the references. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Himanshu ji. You have presented full-length paper in this international seminar. The topic was impact of banks, lending and deposit function on their sustainability in this scenario. Now I am नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस टेक्निकल यूनिवर्सिटी द्वारका.
Mr. Gaurav.
Yes, sir. I am audible?
Yes. You can start your presentation.
Yeah. So my name is Gaurav Maran and I am from NCT, Dwarka, New Delhi. So I am presenting my research paper on world fastest growing startup ecosystem. In the past year, Indian ecosystem has performed right around, starting taking step towards its own right mining activities and more technology. In this, it shows a rapid growth in ecosystem after introducing Niti Aayog. It showed 3,100 to 15,000 plus, which will be working as a registered organization. There will be lakhs of startup at the accelerated stage. This is going to be revolutionary in India. This will be change the working style of the market, making the growth of successful number of the Indian startups has become a point of interest. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi came up with a program called Startup India. Indian startup is contributing 15 to 20% of global GDP. This happens only when the number of startups grow in mass to create awareness and to build a entrepreneurial environment. There many mentoring organizations have been started. This study concludes that starting a startup in India is easier and has a maximum chance of success, and the startup can contribute more to GDP of India. So keywords in startup: unicorn, ecosystem, startup India, mentoring. Introduction is started is an entrepreneurial venture which show newly emerged and the rapidly growing business that aim to meet market need for offering innovative products, process and services. A startup is usually a company designed implement out of the out of box process and development. As per the co-founder, Infosys, a startup is an organization within the first 3 year existence organization leading more than 50 employees with the revenue of 5 crore. IIT, which makes the world's fourth producer of billion-dollar startups, as per the report, UK based according to company stage. So, our objective to study about the startup in India, to understand the scope and the growth of startups in India, to understand the role investment agency in the development of startups in India, to identify the problem faced building startups in India. So there is a literature review. Startup in India plan to make an initial capital 10 crore over 4 years from the government. The initial capital is capable of attracting tenfold investment by 2025. This is guarantee for a startup and another booster. In the front of domestic and international startup plan has been unfolded on 16 January 2016. Business based on the internet is food to fashion, health to education, travel to payment platform have started taking a certain step recently. Each documentation is a dream for the smart entrepreneur. Most of the development countries have taken the startup to make the startup operation easy. This makes Prime Minister has put an 19 points agenda for forwarding startup culture. So research methodology is quantitative data, tools and sample size 145 respondents, sample method random sampling, responding profile, young and education rate, sampling rate, funding by angel investor, venture capital and public market. Building a startup rally on an angel investor and sending funding. Venture capital used to scale the business model of the entrepreneur. Late stage startup can feel the need to expand the more aggressive of the actively innovative to product. There is some question which we ask: is there any challenge faced by the startup? Has your family support you during your startup? Did you face a problem with the funding? Is the government policy helpful for startup? This is challenges as questions for startups. These are the results. Challenges faced: 98% yes and 0% no. Family support 28% and 70%. Funding problem 66 and 32. Help of government policy 67 and 31. No 30. Challenge faced by startups: money 66 and no 32. Funding right 98 and 0. Lack of talent 61 and 37. And time management 77 to 14. And dealing with the computer 98 to 0. So sector to concentration is technology-based startup, non-technology-based startup, stages of the startup life cycle, pre-startup stage, startup and growth. Current state of the startup in India: as per the India, there is the largest startup. The average of the Indian age of founded is 28 years, and 16% of total members found are women, and 50% in the share of the female entrepreneurs in last 12 months, and private and innovative venture has doubled in the last 12 months. This is a comparison with other countries. So scope growth are Make in India, Startup in India, Digital India. Negative point in Indian startup: most of the Indians are copying foreign startup. They do not have a proper growth plan. Instead of producing result by making a present by policy, they expect more from the government. Lack of research and lack of proper mentoring. So conclusion are: the success of the Startup India campaign has made faster and easier registration for companies. It is also important to add provision with the closure date company with 19 years. This research paper found a response good to the idea of funding for incubation centers. The promise of providing an initial capital 10,000 crore in future years is enough to attract more investment by 2025. An incentive is in the method of tax holiday for 3 years is benefit for worth considering. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you. To present this research paper, actually in the internal seminar, we are providing the facility to explore your knowledge and gain the experience for future. Now the next participant is Harsh, who will present his paper on the topic of comparative study of high and low volatility period of Indian derivatives market. Please give a big hand to Harsh from NSUT. Harsh, the student from NSUT. Just present your paper.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Harsh Sharma. I am currently pursuing MBA from NSUT. Now, I would like to present my topic, that is comparative study of high and low volatility periods in the Indian derivative market. Here is my abstract that is shown that the Indian derivative market has witnessed full-size boom. However, it has also characterized by the way of intervals of both high and low volatility. This study explores the behavior of Indian derivatives market during periods of high and low volatility. It aims to provide valuable insights for investors, traders, regulators, and researchers by analyzing contract volume and open interest. In this, how trading activity and positions change during different volatility regimes. The next one is implied volatility. In this, the market expectation of future price movements under different conditions can be explained further. The third one is price movements. Here is the pattern, trends, and risk-return relationships across volatility regimes that can be explained. The next one is trading techniques. In this, dominant strategies employed by market participants based on volatility can be explained. After that, the motivation and methodology that we have used, where the understanding of volatility dynamics that is crucial for informed decision making in the derivatives market. This study aims to enhance risk management, where equip market participants with tools to manage risk associated and with volatility. The next is optimized hedging strategies. In this, we can identify effective hedging strategies for different volatility regimes. The next one is improve market efficiency, where we can analyze the impact of volatility on market data processing and price discovery. The next, the methodology we have used in this, that is statistical analysis of historical data, where we can analyze the data on contracts, volatility measures, and economic indicators during high and low volatility periods. The next is advanced statistical techniques. Here we can employ econometric models and time series analysis to capture complex relationships. The next is comparative evaluation. Here we can conduct the rigorous comparison between high and low volatility periods and the expected outcomes that we have attained and contribution to the prior results we have got, that we can identify the key drivers of the volatility. Here we can understand the factors contributing to high and low volatility periods, and we can understand the investor behavior also. Here we can analyze how market participants adapt their behavior based on volatility. The next is we can develop effective trading strategies. Here we can identify profitable strategies for different volatility regimes, and we can improve also the market efficiency, where we can provide insights for regulators to create more efficient and stable market. Overall, this study aims to empower the stakeholders with actionable insights to make informed decisions and to contribute to a better market environment. Here the keywords that I have used is Indian derivatives, volatility, high volatility, low volatility, market behavior, risk management, trading strategies, market performance. That's all. Thank you from my side.
Give a big hand. Thank you, Harsh. Am I audible? Okay. Next paper presenter is Shivani from NSUT. I am requesting to all participants who want to present his or her paper, kindly send a message so I can call him or her. Next participant is Shivani. The topic is role of AI in designing business strategies in present scenario. Kindly present her paper, Shivani from NSUT.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Please confirm if my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for the confirmation. A very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shivani, and I'm a student of MBA final year at NSUT. And I'm doing a specialization in finance and business analytics. Today, I present my research work, which titled Role of AI in Designing Business Strategies in Present Scenario. So let's start with the background. Okay. Please, I'm sorry for the interruption. I think. Please give me a few minutes.
Okay, okay.
confirm if my screen is visible.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. As we all are aware right, that AI is one of the fast growing fields that is receiving increasing attention in business world. It merges computer science with comprehensive data sets to facilitate the problem solving. Essentially, AI technologies promise to enhance the performance in various dimensions such as speed, flexibility, customization, scalability, innovation, and data-driven decision making. AI applications span across diverse sectors ranging from data analysis and predictive modeling to automation. NLP, which stands for natural language processing and computer vision. Industries like healthcare, finance, marketing, education, and agriculture are increasingly leveraging AI versatile capabilities by enhancing efficiency, improving customer experience, optimizing process, and driving innovation. AI is fundamentally reshaping present and future business strategies. For example, Netflix is using AI to recommend the movies and the shows to the people. AI has a great potential in designing business strategies by analyzing data to find patterns and trends, predict future outcomes, and detect all kinds of risks. The aim of my study is to the purpose of my study is to understand how business are leveraging AI to grow and develop strategies that yield positive outcomes faster with aim to overcome the barrier in business growth and usher in wave of new opportunity for development. The material and the methodology that are used in this research is systematic literature review, primary data related to this research, and I was planning to add a questionnaire for the same. I'm not adding the result and discussion slide because I'm still working on the research paper. Then these are the references that I use to prepare my research papers. These are some of the research papers or the journals that I read so that I get more and more information about how strategies are used in businesses. And the reason why I select this topic because I find it fascinating how AI can help companies make better decisions, save money, make customers satisfied or happy. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time and your patience. Now you can, I'm free, if you really wanted to ask any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shivani, for your presentation. Nice efforts you have done. Any more participants? Okay. Any more participants who wants to present? Any more who are connected with us and want to present his or her paper? Kindly raise your hand.
हाँ सर, उस लिंक जो मैंने भेजा
Who
है
is?
जुड़ जाइए अधिवेशन के लिए।
Abhisha,
BL शर्मा
do you want to present a paper?
चलो छोड़ो।
Abhisha?
BL शर्मा जुड़ रहा है।
Anyone else?
देखो भी रिक्वेस्ट आने वाली।
Just raise your hand.
अभी रिक्वेस्ट आने वाली ज्वाइन करा लेना तुम। BL शर्मा। देखो जो जुड़ जाए BL शर्मा तो मुझे बता दो।
Anyone, if you want to present your paper, just raise your hand.
Hello.
Now, this is the most pleasure to us and our institution to arrange or completion of this 2 days international seminar on global partnership, India's collaborative initiatives for economic and social growth. I think as a organizing secretary, this is a successful seminar presented by our college, Department of Commerce, Damayanti Rajanand Rajkiya Snatkotter Mahavidyalaya. A lot of academicians, research scholars have taken part in the technical session. We have held one academic and 2 technical sessions. First academic session was held on the first day. There we have conducted 2 more technical sessions. A lot of global partners, global research scholars, academicians, dignitaries have taken place and take a part for presenting their research paper. We will publish all the research papers, full-length research papers in international peer-reviewed journal. The last date to submit their research paper, which are expanded up to 29th of Feb. The role of India in shaping sustainable development. There are various sub-themes: unity in diversity, inclusive growth. A lot of sub-themes were taken place in this international seminar. In this valedictory session, Professor Dr. B.L. Sharma ji, Assistant Director, Higher Education, Prayagraj, has joined us for their blessings. Kindly put your hands together for their blessings. I welcome you, sir, in this international seminar for the valedictory session.
सभी को नमस्कार। मेरी आवाज आ रही है सभी के पास?
यस यस
आ रही सर।
आ रही डियर।
यस सर। हाँ। ग्लोबल पार्टनरशिप इंडियाज कोलैबोरेटिव इनिशिएटिव फॉर इकोनॉमिक एंड सोशल ग्रोथ विषय पर आयोजित इस 2 दिवसीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सेमिनार में निश्चित रूप से 2 दिनों में गहन चिंतन मनन विचार मंथन हुआ होगा और इससे जो निकले हुए या निकलेंगे वो निश्चित रूप से हमारे रिसर्च स्टूडेंट्स के लिए, देश के नीति निर्माताओं के लिए और हम जैसे विभिन्न एकेडमिशियंस के लिए एक मील का पत्थर साबित होंगे, ऐसे ही मैं आशा करता हूं। ये विषय बहुत ही समसामयिक है। इंडियन डेवलपमेंट जो मॉडल है भारत का, उसमें कई चीजें समाहित हैं। ग्रांटेड एड के रूप में, लाइन ऑफ क्रेडिट के रूप में, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग के रूप में और टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस के रूप में विभिन्न पार्टनर्स जो कंट्री हैं उनसे भारत लगातार वैश्विक प्रगति के लिए, भारत को एक नया आयाम प्रदान करने के लिए निरंतर नित नए समझौते कर रहा है। अभी रिसेंटली वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम की एक बैठक हुई थी, 54वीं वार्षिक बैठक 15 से 19 जनवरी 2024 में स्विट्जरलैंड के दावोस शहर में, जहां 100 देशों ने पार्टिसिपेट किया था और लगभग 1000 कंपनीज जो पार्टनर्स के रूप में थी वहां हिस्सेदारी की थी। इंडिया ने वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फोरम में सबसे पहले 1984 में प्रथम बार भाग लिया। तब से लगातार अपनी स्थिति में सुधार करके और ये साबित किया है भारत ने कि आज भारत मोस्ट अट्रैक्टिव इन्वेस्टमेंट डेस्टिनेशन बन चुका है विश्व के अनेक देशों के लिए। अभी आपने विगत कोविड के टाइम में देखा, इंडिया की जो फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी थी जो 3rd रैंक में थी पूरे वर्ल्ड में, उन्होंने पूरे विश्व की किस प्रकार सहायता की और एक रोल मॉडल अदा किया। निश्चित रूप से भारत सॉल्यूशन प्रोवाइडर्स के रूप में, इंडिया की जो एम्बिशियस क्लाइमेट एक्शन प्लान है उसके रूप में और रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के रूप में, डिजिटल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन के रूप में और अपने जो भी कमिटमेंट है इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ के लिए वो लगातार पार्टनर्स कंट्रीज के साथ कर रहा है। ये बहुत ही सुखद और गर्व करने की बात है कि भारत अलग अलग रूपों में, चाहे वो इंडिया का जो डेवलपमेंट कॉर्पोरेशन है उसकी रेंज एक वैरायटी ऑफ रेंज है उसके पास, जो कॉमर्स से लेकर कल्चर तक, एनर्जी से लेकर इंजीनियरिंग तक, हेल्थ से लेकर के और हाउसिंग तक, आईटी इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी से लेकर के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर तक, स्पोर्ट्स से लेकर साइंस तक, डिजास्टर रिलीफ से लेकर के और अनेक मानवीय सहायता के रूप में भारत विश्व के विभिन्न पार्टनर्स देशों की लगातार सहायता करने में अपनी अग्रणी भूमिका का निर्वहन कर रहा है। तो जो वैश्विक साझेदारी, आर्थिक और सामाजिक विकास के लिए भारत का जो सहयोगात्मक रवैया है, निश्चित रूप से ऐसे समसामयिक विषय पर ये 2 दिवसीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सेमिनार और इसके निष्कर्ष सभी के लिए मील का पत्थर होंगे। मैं महाविद्यालय के यशस्वी प्राचार्य और अपने बड़े भाई प्रोफेसर पी.के. वार्ष्णेय जी, इसके कन्वीनर ललित मोहन वासुदेव जी और महाविद्यालय की संपूर्ण टीम को बधाई देता हूं कि उन्होंने सफलतापूर्वक इस सेमिनार को आयोजित किया और विभिन्न प्रतिभागियों को एक अच्छे डिस्कशन का प्लेटफॉर्म उपलब्ध कराया। निश्चित रूप से सभी पूरा महाविद्यालय बधाई का पात्र है और मैं सभी आगंतुकों को विभिन्न देश विदेश और जहां से भी जो पार्टिसिपेंट्स आए, निश्चित रूप से मैं सभी का इस सेमिनार में उनका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं कि वो सभी आकर के और एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दे पर 2 दिन तक चिंतन मनन किए। इनके निष्कर्ष हम सबके लिए बहुत फ्रूटफुल होंगे। इसी के साथ सभी को पुनः बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय भारत, जय हिंद।
धन्यवाद सर। 2 दिवसीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगोष्ठी के समापन सत्र में सर ने बहुत ही गागर में सागर भरने की कोशिश की और इसके निश्चित रूप से हम आभारी हैं सर के। ये हमें पता है कि सामाजिक कार्य के साथ साथ शासकीय कार्य में व्यस्त होने की वजह से सर का आगमन यहाँ नहीं हो पाया और हम प्रयास करेंगे कि आगे सर जरूर इस महाविद्यालय में अपने चरण रज को रखें। ऐसी शुभकामना भी है और ऐसी आशा भी है, प्रत्याशा भी है सर। इस 2 दिवसीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगोष्ठी के समापन सत्र में प्रथम कार्य दिवस में उद्घाटन सत्र में हमारे महाविद्यालय में संरक्षक के रूप में माननीय डॉक्टर जयपाल सिंह व्यस्त जी रहे, जो अधिष्ठाता और सदस्य विधान परिषद लखनऊ। इसके साथ विशिष्ट अतिथि के रूप में डॉक्टर एच.एस. धामी जी, कुलपति सूरजमल विश्वविद्यालय किच्छा उत्तराखंड से हमारे साथ रहे, इनके विशेष आशीर्वाद हम लोगों को मिला। विशेष अतिथि के रूप में प्रोफेसर अभय कुमार मित्तल, पूर्व डीन ऑफ कॉमर्स, डीन फैकल्टी ऑफ कॉमर्स, और प्रिंसिपल साहू जैन पीजी कॉलेज नहियाबाद। मुख्य वक्ता के रूप में विजय कुमार शोतिया जी, दिल्ली स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स, दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय दिल्ली, और प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर MC पांडे जी, प्राचार्य राजकीय महाविद्यालय रामनगर, जिन्होंने इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगोष्ठी में अपने ज्ञान के द्वारा पूरे इस कार्यक्रम को, इस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगोष्ठी को चिंतन मनन की दिशा में नए विचारों का उत्सर्जन किया। इसके साथ मुख्य अतिथि के रूप में हमारे मध्य प्रथम दिवस में प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर SP सिंह खरे साहब प्रस्तुत रहे, जो पूर्व निदेशक उच्च शिक्षा निदेशालय प्रयागराज, जिनके आशीर्वचन हमें प्राप्त हुए। सारे समस्त वाणिज्य संकाय के लोगों के द्वारा इस वैश्विक साझेदारी, आर्थिक और सामाजिक विकास के लिए भारत की सहयोगात्मक पहल पर अपने भिन्न भिन्न नए नए विचारों से हमें ओतप्रोत किया। हमारे अंतरराष्ट्रीय पार्टिसिपेंट्स जो रहे, एवांस कैम्बोय केन्या से, श्रीनिवास प्रसाद यादव नेपाल से, टेकलेब्रान बेरहे अवे फ्रॉम इथोपिया, अर्नल्ड जोसेफ स्वान USA, डॉक्टर शाहिद हुसैन सऊदी अरब से, प्रियंका वाशिंगटन DC से हमारे मध्य, जिन्होंने अपने रिसर्च पेपर को प्रेजेंट किया और भारत की वैश्विक साझेदारी के विषय में विस्तार से व्याख्या की। और आज द्वितीय कार्य दिवस में जो 9:30 बजे से एकेडमिक सेशन के साथ टेक्निकल सत्र हमारा जो चला, उसमें विभिन्न दिल्ली से एकेडमिशियन और रिसर्च स्कॉलर शोधार्थियों ने अपने रिसर्च पेपर्स को यहाँ पर ऑनलाइन माध्यम से प्रस्तुत किया। बहुत सुंदर और सजीव प्रस्तुति प्रदान की, और इसके साथ ये अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सेमिनार अपने सफलता के उत्कृष्ट शिखर पर पहुंच गई। निश्चित रूप से हम अपने प्राचार्य महोदय के आभारी हैं, जिनके दिशा निर्देश में ये संगोष्ठी सफलता के सोपान आयन करेगी। और इस प्रोसीडिंग को पूरे नेशनल सेमिनार की, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगोष्ठी की सेमिनार जो भी एकेडमिशियन शोधार्थियों ने अपने रिसर्च पेपर एक बड़ी मात्रा में हमारे पास भेजे हैं, उन सब का प्रकाशन इंटरनेशनल पीयर रिव्यूड जर्नल में किया जाएगा, जो महाविद्यालय के साथ साथ पूरे बदायूं और बरेली क्षेत्र के लिए उपलब्धि है। एक जोरदार तालियों से स्वागत। पूरे बरेली क्षेत्र तक इसका हमारे प्राचार्य महोदय के जो दिशा निर्देश है, उसके आधार पर ये कॉलेज भव्यता प्रदान करेगा, ऐसी आशा है और ऐसी विचार भी हमारे हैं। इसी के साथ मैं अंतिम रूप में अपने प्राचार्य महोदय को मंच पर आमंत्रित करूंगा कि कृपया प्राचार्य महोदय स्वागत कीजिएगा, तालियों के साथ स्वागत कीजिएगा।
आज के द्वितीय दिवस की बेला पर इंटरनेशनल सेमिनार ऑन ग्लोबल पार्टनरशिप इंडिया कोलैबोरेशन इनिशिएटिव फॉर इकोनॉमिक्स एंड सोशल ग्रोथ, वैश्विक साझेदारी, आर्थिक और सामाजिक विकास के लिए भारत की सहयोगात्मक पहल विषय पर 2 दिन मंथन और मंचन दोनों हुए, जिसमें बहुत से हमारे रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स, एकेडमिशियन, हमारे गार्जियंस उपस्थित हुए। वो हमारे आयोजन सचिव ने सबको बता ही दिया। छात्र छात्राओं ने अपनी दर्शक के रूप में एक अनुभव प्राप्त किया, क्योंकि नई शिक्षा नीति के तहत ग्रेजुएशन और पीजी में सेमिनार प्रेजेंटेशन, प्रोजेक्ट प्रेजेंटेशन को अनिवार्य कर दिया है। इसलिए छात्र छात्राओं की सहभागिता भी बहुत अच्छी रही और बहुत ही प्रासंगिक ये इंटरनेशनल सेमिनार रही। इसमें देश विदेश, राज्यों, उत्तराखंड, दिल्ली, अन्य क्षेत्रों से भी पधारे यहाँ फिजिकली और लाइव भी जुड़े, ऑनलाइन से भी जुड़े। और हमारे कुछ जो अतिथि थे वो अपनी कुछ कार्यवश प्राथमिकता के कार्य शासन के पड़ जाते हैं, उसकी वजह से फिजिकली उपस्थित नहीं हो पाए। और परम आदरणीय डीसी सर प्रोफेसर के सिंह साहब से दोनों दिन कांटेक्ट रहे, जो कि बहुत बिजी पर्सन हैं। आज भी उनसे मैंने कांटेक्ट किया तो बहुत बिजी हैं। ऑनलाइन आशीर्वाद उन्होंने ऐसे ही आपका भेजा है कि आपकी सेमिनार की सफलता के लिए मेरी तरफ से आशीर्वाद दे दीजिएगा सबको, तो उनके लिए वेरी वेरी थैंक्स। और डॉक्टर राजपूत जो रूसा के अपर सचिव हैं, उनकी भी बड़ी व्यस्तता है, उन्होंने भी इसी प्रकार से अपने आशीर्वचन को मेरे द्वारा भेजा गया है। और प्रोफेसर वी.एस. शर्मा द्वारा कोशिश करने पर बड़ी कट पेस्ट करके उन्होंने अपनी बातों को और किसी तरीके से हमसे जुड़े, उनके लिए हृदय से आभार। महाविद्यालय परिवार की ओर से बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं, बधाइयाँ और उनको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। हमारे प्रोफेसर्स जो बहुत ही सीमित साधन में हमारे कर्मचारीगण और छात्राओं ने जो अपना प्रदर्शन किया है, प्रेजेंटेशन किया है, वो काबिल तारीफ है। वो दिखाई देता है, किसी से कहने की जरूरत नहीं है। यूट्यूब लाइव, फेसबुक लाइव, व्हाट्सएप चैटिंग, सब कुछ ऑनलाइन प्रेजेंटेशन है, उसमें किसी को प्रमाण पत्र देने की जरूरत नहीं है। तो सभी की मेहनत सफल हुई है और सभी को बहुत बहुत बधाइयाँ। और भविष्य में होने वाले सभी और इससे भी अच्छे कार्यक्रम हो, जिससे हमारे महाविद्यालय का, हमारे समाज का, हमारे बिसौली का, DRA बिसौली का नाम हो, जिससे कुछ भविष्य में संभावनाएं बने। तो सभी को बहुत बहुत हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं, धन्यवाद। इसी बात से क्लैपिंग करते हुए हम समापन करते हैं। धन्यवाद।
हाँ, राष्ट्रगान पे समापन होगा।
शुरू करते हैं। जनगण अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंग, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलध तरंग, तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाए सब जय गाथा, जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे। भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय। वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, मातरम। जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम। चलो
इसको एग्जिट कर दीजिए
सर YouTube लाइव है,
इसको एग्जिट तो करिए।
YouTube लाइव है।